he is an imam in the UK. But he has a relative, and that relative got an ear infection. He had a problem in his ear, so he had to go to the doctor. And the doctor examined his ear. There was an infection. So he gave him some tablets, and he said, take a tablet every 8 hours. No problem. And the doctor told him, come back after 3 days. However, the patient couldn't wait for 3 days. He came the next day in the morning. And he said, doctor, I was in pain. I took the first tablet. I started to cry. I took the second one. I couldn't sleep at night. I took the third one. I was about to go crazy. So the doctor said, Khair, inshallah, let me re-examine your ear. And he looked inside his ear, and sure enough, he found the 3 tablets stuffed inside. So it's the right medicine, but the wrong way of using it. So subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Qur'an for a reason, but many of us use the Qur'an in the wrong way. تمام؟ يعني مثلا, I'm from Egypt. If you go to a house in my village, in Egypt, and you hear someone playing the Qur'an in the house, you will ask, who died? Man mata. Because people have come to a point where they associate the Qur'an with the dead. They play Qur'an only if someone dies. It's a cultural thing. Some people, even though subhanAllah in Surah Yasin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talks about the Qur'an, He says, لِيُنذِرَ مَنْ كَانَ حَيًّا. This Qur'an is a reminder to those who are truly alive. Some people, they just frame ayat from the Qur'an, mashallah, on the wall, but they don't pay attention to them. They just put them there because they look nice. In Egypt, car insurance is not farz. Like Canada, America, no, it's farz. It's not farz. So some people put copies of the Qur'an in the front, in the back, just for protection against theft, accidents. That's it. Some people, subhanallah, I used to do this when I was young. Al-Jahiliyyah al-Ula. They open the Qur'an at a random page. They look at the first ayah in front of them. If it's positive, they don't pray istikhara. They just look at the ayah randomly. If it's positive, they do it. If it's negative, they run away. Yani, مثلا, someone wants to marry Zainab. He opens the Qur'an randomly. If it talks about Jahannam, if it talks about punishment, suffering, oh, I'm going to marry Fatima. I'm going to do something else. If it talks about Jannah, something nice, khalas. And this is not the right way of doing it. So, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveal the Qur'an? Allah revealed the Qur'an. Basic level is to read it and memorize it. A lot of people, certain cultures, subhanallah, Egypt included, other places, Turkey, other places, they feel that the relationship with the Qur'an ends once you memorize the Qur'an. Once you become Hafiz, you have nothing to do with the Qur'an. Habibi, like, your relationship does not end with Hifz. It begins with Hifz. So reading and Hifz is the first level. Then understanding the Qur'an, Tadabbur al-Qur'an, reflecting on the meaning of the Qur'an, and applying it to your life, and teaching it to others. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Qur'an, in Surah Hijr, the surah that Shaykh Ahmad recited, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. I'm going to preserve and protect the Qur'an. This is my duty. Your duty, كِتَابٌ أَنزَلْنَاهُ إِلَيْكَ مُبَارَكٌ لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِهِ. We revealed this Qur'an for you, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so people will do tadabbur, reflect on the Qur'an. However, some people say, no, we're going to switch places here. We will do the hifz, you do the tadabbur. No, Allah is preserving the Qur'an. Your job is to do tadabbur. So what happens when you do tadabbur on the Qur'an? I'll just give a couple of quick examples to show you the beauty and the power of the Qur'an. Because sometimes we read it like quickly, we're not paying attention, but there are gems in the Qur'an. Ulama from the time of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, the cousin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, till today, when they do tafsir, they extract gems from the Qur'an that the previous generation didn't know about. Let me give you a few examples. يعني مثلا, surahs, the ending of a surah is usually connected to the next one. يعني مثلا, the last ayah of Surah Isra, Surah 17, ayah 111, it says, وَقُلِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي لَمْ يَتَّخِذْ وَلَدًا. If you read that first ayah of Surah Kahf, it says what? الحمد لله وَيُنذِرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ وَلَدًا. They are connected. The beginning of the same surah is connected with the end of the same surah. يعني مثلا, Surah Al-Mu'minun, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ, صح? At the end of the surah, إِنَّهُ لَا يُفْلِحُ الْكَافِرُونَ, the kafirs will never succeed. It's the opposite of what is mentioned at the beginning. طيب. Numbers in the Qur'an. I'm going to share with you very quickly, in 1 or 2 minutes, some of أوجه الإعجاز, the miraculous nature of the Qur'an that many of us didn't know about. And some of them are very recent. Because the Qur'an was revealed orally to the Prophet ﷺ, he couldn't read or write. It was revealed to him. He memorized it the way it was revealed, and he passed it to the Sahaba. طيب. Surah Kahf, Surah 18. We read every Friday. The first story, the youth in the cave. How long did they stay in the cave? 309. Jazakallah khair. At the beginning of the story, for Surah Al-Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لِنَعْلَمَ أَيُّ الْحِزْبَيْنِ أَحْصَى لِمَا لَبِثُوا أَمَدًا, to show or to show people how long they stayed in the cave. So this is at the very beginning of the story. And the word labithu, stayed, is used. At the end of the story, وَلَبِثُوا فِي كَهْفِهِمْ, they stayed in the cave for 309 years. So you see the question at the beginning, stayed, and the answer at the end, stayed, and it gives the number. If you count the Arabic words and particles from labithu, stayed at the beginning, and labithu, stayed at the end of the story, how many words and particles? 309. SubhanAllah. Now another one, because you say, it's just coincidence, it happens. No. You will find it through the Quran. Surah Nuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the story of Nuh alayhi salam in many places in the Quran. Noah, Prophet Noah. But those stories, like what you recited 2 days ago in Surah Hud, and other places, Shu'ara, and so on and so forth, they talk about the destruction of the people of Nuh, the ship, the ark, the flood. But Surah Nuh is dedicated entirely to the da'wah techniques of Nuh alayhi salam. دعوتهم ليلا ونهارا. I made da'wah to them day and night, privately and publicly. I gave them logical arguments and his da'wah techniques. How long did Nuh alayhi salam make da'wah? For how long? Ahsant. 950. If you count the Arabic letters of Surah Nuh from the beginning to the end, Alif, Inna, to the end, 950 Arabic letters exactly. Count them when you go home. So isn't this something? Another way to identify the mu'ajizat al-Qur'an, there is a new branch of knowledge, is called they call it the ring structure of the Qur'an. I know it's a bit complicated to explain the ring structure of the Qur'an. So what happens is, if you look at a surah, or an ayah like ayah Kursi, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن, the ayah is made up of, let's say, 7 or 6 sentences. The first sentence matches the last one. The second from the beginning matches the second from the back. The third with the third. Then you have the one in the middle that connects both. Apply this when you go home to Surah Ayah Kursi and ayah that talks about Ramadan. Now I'm going to apply it quickly to Surah Yusuf that you recited a few days ago. Surah Yusuf has 14 topics from the beginning to the end. About 14 topics. First topic, Qur'an. Last topic number 14, talks about Qur'an. It talks about Qur'an. Second topic from the beginning, the 11 stars and the sun and the moon, the dream of Yusuf alayhi salam. Second topic from the back, the dream came true and they made sajda. Third topic, the brothers of Yusuf made a conspiracy against him. Third topic from the back, they apologized. And the wife of Al-Aziz made a conspiracy. Fourth from the back, she apologized. The women at the banquet, they apologized. Number 5 from the back. Number 6, Yusuf alayhi salam goes to jail. 6 from the back, he gets out of jail. Then you have the dream of the king in the middle, and the dream is interpreted. If you fold the surah right in the middle, the first half matches perfectly the second half. This can also apply to 2 surahs. Just check Surah Rahman and Surah Waqi'ah. The same topics, but in reverse order. يعني مثلا, the last section of Surah Rahman talks about 3 types of people on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Those who will go to Jahannam, those muqarrabun, wa ashab al-yamin. This is the last topic in Surah Rahman. It's the first topic, Surah Waqi'ah. وَكُنْتُمْ أَزْوَاجًا ثَلَاثًا فَأَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ أَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَلَةِ وَالسَّابِقُونَ 3. The word Rayhan is mentioned twice in the Qur'an. One at the beginning of Surah Rahman, وَالْحَبُّ ذُو الْعَصْفِ وَالرَّيْحَانِ, and one at the end of Surah Waqi'ah, فَرَوْحٌ وَرَيْحَانٌ وَجَنَّةٌ نَعِيمٍ. They match perfectly. So this is another type. It's called ring structure of the Quran. The last one for today, inshallah. I don't want to keep you for too long. They don't pay me overtime. طيب. This is very new. And not so many people have heard about this particular one, and it blew my mind away when I read it. A scholar from Egypt, his name is Abdul Rauf Abu Sa'da. In 1993, he came up with this theory, and he proved it in his book. And I checked every one of them, it's correct. So basically, the Quran, of course, quotes the names of prophets and places from other cultures. I mean, the name Yusuf alayhi salam, Yusuf was not an Arab. Musa was not an Arab. Ibrahim. They didn't speak Arabic. So their names, Fir'aun, for example, his name came from ancient Egyptian. Ibrahim, Ishaq, they came from Hebrew. Other names came from Aramaic, the language of Jesus, Isa alayhi salam. So this mu'jiza in this book basically says that every time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you one of the 61 non-Arabic names in the Quran, He gives you the meaning in the same ayah without you realizing it. Let me give you a few examples. Surah Hud. وَامْرَأَتُهُ قَائِمَةٌ فَضَحِكَتْ فَبَشَّرْنَاهَا بِإِسْحَاقَ وَمِنْ وَرَاءِ إِسْحَاقَ يَعْقُوبَ. The wife of Ibrahim, Sarah, was standing right there. She smiled. We gave her the good news of Ishaq. What does Ishaq have to do with her smiling? Ishaq, just like Ishaq in Arabic, means the smiling one. She smiled. We give her the news of the smiling son. So the meaning of his name is given. Not only that, وَمِنْ وَرَاءِ إِسْحَاقَ يَعْقُوبَ. After Ishaq, Ya'qub. Ya'qub in Hebrew means the one who comes after. So the word min wara gives you the meaning of Ya'qub as well. Ismail. Ismail means in the Aramaic language or the Syrianic language, it means Allah hears dua. Allah answers dua. This is the meaning of Ismail. في اللغة العربية إل معناها الله. حتى مستخدمة in some hadith. إل معناها الإله. The first part means listen. إل معناها إله, God. الحمد لله الذي وهب لي على الكبر إسماعيل وإسحاق إن ربي لسميع الدعاء. Ismail, and at the end Allah answers the dua. The meaning is given. Musa alayhi salam, when they found him in the basket in the Nile, he didn't have a name tag that says Musa. Musa was not the name that his mother gave him. They didn't know his name when they found him. He had no name, right? So Fir'aun and his wife, they named him what? Musa. Musa in ancient Egyptian. And by the way, the ancient Egyptian language died almost 2,000 years before the Qur'an was revealed. So nobody knew the meaning of Musa at the time of Rasulullah, just a name. So the word Musa means little boy. We don't know your name, so we're going to call you Musa, little boy. When Fir'aun talks to Musa alayhi salam, he says, أَلَمْ نُرَبِّكَ فِينَا وَلِيدًا. Did we not raise you, Musa, as a little boy? Musa, little boy? What does Fir'aun mean in ancient Egyptian? Fara' in Arabic, meaning very high, very tall. So the word Fir'aun in the ancient Egyptian language means big house, high tower. وَقَالَ فِرْعَوْنُ Ya Hamanu ibnili sarhan. So Fir'aun means sarh in the Arabic language. ذكر رحمة ربك عبده Zakaria. What does Zakaria mean? The one who makes zikr. Zikru rahmat Zakaria. Maryam means the one who humbles herself in ibadah to Allah. Ya Maryamu kunuti li rabbiki was the meaning is given in the ayah. And this is true for every single name, non-Arabic name in the Qur'an. So this is from the mu'jizat that you will come across when you do tadabbur in the Qur'an. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the best in this life and the best in the life to come. And we ask Allah to give us sincerity in everything we say and do. If you have not sponsored a box, this is your last chance. Otherwise, we'll see you next year. So make sure you sponsor a box, $100 inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Imam Muhammad, for welcoming us here with a smiley face and good food. May Allah reward you and bless this community. Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.